Three, two, one, and we're going. Social media manager of Marine AFC, Tom Clarke. How's things, mate? You doing all right?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, it's good to join you. Obviously, it's been a bit of a strange period after such a manic couple of weeks, month or so. It's just gone down to back to nothing. So it's very strange because obviously we're not out to play football at the moment, but coming down from that has been mad. It's been such a contrast, but what an experience it was. To be fair, I'm just glad we got to experience it.
Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, we'll get on to like the present day later on, but for those that don't know, this guy right here has been at the forefront of one of football's most exciting FA Cup ties and tales, I should say, in recent memory. In an 8th tier side, reaching the third round. Was it for the first time in the history? Yeah.
In Marine's history,
Yeah.
second, I think.
Second. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the second time in the history, coming up against former Champions League finalists and a side managed by Jose Mourinho, Tottenham Hotspur. There are so many different factors as to what made this such a brilliant narrative, from the digital ticket sales to the Twitter admin World Cup, which you're currently absolutely smashing. So just talk to me about these last couple of months and just how good of an experience has the FA Cup run been?
Oh, it's been absolutely amazing. I'm so lucky to be part of Marine at a time like this because obviously the workload went from a couple of hours a week just doing matches and stuff like that to managing a professional tie really because we obviously had to we had massive requests on our hands, things like that kind of, because it was such a fairy tale and everyone wanted to be a part of it. All the news outlets wanted a piece of it, so we had to hire a press officer externally and bring someone in. And my workload as well has gone from literally like when I first joined, it was just writing match reports and live tweeting, but now it was selling. I was selling player sponsorships. I was obviously pushing the virtual tickets campaign and doing so much more on the commercial side of things, as well as the social media stuff. There was so many responsibilities, and it was pretty much up until midnight for every day of the week before. But just to be part of something like that, just what an experience really for myself personally in terms of going forward into what I want to do in the future. Obviously, in terms of being like a club journalist kind of thing, it was the perfect experience for me from going for the eight tier football to a massive clash with Tottenham Hotspur and dealing with Tottenham Hotspur as a club. They were excellent and their fans were excellent as well. Of course, we'll get onto that, but it was just what an experience, and even to be part of the day as well. Obviously, without fans there, it was awful not to have fans there, but to be there myself was just an unbelievable experience, and I can't thank them enough.
No, most definitely, and mate, I've been absolutely buzzing for you these last couple of months, as you say, and you talk about the day in and of itself, and I mean, the people I know from Crosby were so hyped for this game against Spurs, and I'm sure so many people have seen the footage of the streets prior to the game, absolutely packed, which is what football is all about. And just taking a step back and looking at the FA Cup run as a whole, I think it well improved that the magic of the cup is not dead in the slightest. It was a brilliant run from Neil's young side, which saw them come up against Colchester away, Havant Waterlooville, and of course Spurs at home. There was an extra time win in there. There was a penalties win. So just talk to me about those experiences, mate. And, you highlighted some, but some of the biggest differences in comparison to your usual obligations.
Yeah, it was from the start. It's been a crazy journey. There's been a lot of luck involved, but we've gone the road all luck at times. But that's part of
It's
an FA
part of
Cup
it,
series,
yeah.
I suppose. You're bound to if you're going to come this far, you need an element of luck in the run, and that was from the very start when we faced Bernaldswick Town, who were the league below us in the preliminary round before the even qualifying rounds, and we were 1-0 down to them in the 87th minute, and one of our new signings got an equaliser. I wasn't even expecting much from that game because we were losing so late, and then we did get a free kick in stoppage time, and another of the new signings stepped up, hit the underside of the crossbar. The ball bounced on the line and then got cleared. So we just kind of, that's that kind of thing, last kick of the game, and then the linesman put his flag up for a goal, and everyone was like, what? Like, the referee was kind of like, what's going on as well, and just gave the goal because the linesman had flagged for it. So the goal got given, and that began something magical, really. That was the start of the journey, and I know the CEO since said he needs to buy that linesman a pint because what he's done for us. No, but even since then as well, it's been 7 wins, and if any club, Premier League club, came in at the third round and won 7 games in the FA Cup, they'd win the FA Cup. So to win 7 games in one campaign is absolutely phenomenal for such a young side as well. I think most of our squad are under the age of 23. It's very young squad, a lot of players playing who could play a lot higher than 8-tier football, I think, because Marine are a very ambitious club at the moment, and these players are very ambitious to get back. A lot of them to get back into professional football, which is where they come from as well. But no, the journey's been phenomenal. It carried on. We beat Frickley and Nantwich, who were about the same level as us, but then it came to more difficult opposition like Chester in the 4th qualifying round. That was a strange one because Neil Young, our manager, was going back to his former club. He was their first ever manager when they were formed, and he won 3 successive promotions with them. So he was a club legend with them. So to go back to they're 2 leagues above Marine as well, and beat them. Because Neil Young executed this master plan where it was like defensive and then kind of counter-attacking. And we scored a penalty with about 10 minutes to go, and that won the game. That was unbelievable. That got us into the first round. Then it was tripped down to Essex, Colchester United, who were in League 2. Obviously, I just remember like sitting with some of the officials the night before, just thinking, we're obviously not going to get through, but just imagine if we did.
Yeah.
Like, imagine the money we get if we got through is what they were saying, because obviously they're concerned with the financial things, but in terms of the football as well, just how amazing would it be? And Neil Young did the same kind of tactics, and it worked. We took the professionals to extra time. But when it went to extra time, I just thought, like, these are professional footballers, and our teams are semi-pros, so the fitness levels, that's what's going to come into it. But our lads managed to hang on with off the line clearance in the 120th minute, and then won on penalties, which was amazing, and that put us through to the second round against Havants, and having that at home, and all the fans up in the trees and in scaffolding and on top of the sheds and things like that, obviously because they weren't allowed in. And then it's a bit of a scrappy game, that one. I think there was 10 yellow cards and the sending off as well. But then there was that moment of magic in the 120th minute again with Niall Cummins scoring with the back of his neck without realising. But that put us through to the third round, and then to get Tottenham in the third round draw was, oh my God, it was absolutely phenomenal. It just, I had a lot of work on us, but it was literally the ride of a lifetime.
Yeah, I remember seeing your the tweet that you put out, Mourinho at Marine. Because I remember not too long after that, we went on your birthday night out, and it was everywhere, wasn't it? It was on like Sky Sports, ESPN. Everyone had sort of picked up and got on the bandwagon. And I mean, from a media perspective, obviously something that we've both got a really keen interest in. How did you find, obviously the increased social media attention, but also the interest from broadcasting bodies? Because as you progress, the games started getting televised on the likes of BT and the BBC.
Yeah, it was overwhelming at first. It was kind of like we couldn't really deal with it as a club. We had to kind of put on we put on an automated email to say, please, like, just give us a minute, kind of thing. The gist of it was more like we're currently liaising with relevant bodies and things like that, and we had to, as I said before, we had to bring in an external press officer to deal with a lot of these requests, because there were requests from outlets around the world, big and small. We had local ones, and then we had national and international ones as well. I was waking up to reports of, like, someone had sent me a Korean news reporter on the national Korean news talking about Marine, and I was thinking, what's going on? Like, this is crazy. Like, the attention we got, it was even up until a week of the game as well. I remember I was on Chris Cowland's YouTube channel, Tottenham fan, previewing the game, and I was getting a call from my girlfriend as I was on it, and I was like, just go away, like, kind of thing. I'm just doing this, and she was trying to tell me I was on ITV News without realising. It turns out I just popped up on Granada reports of it, like while everyone was having the tea, which I didn't even know about. It was just like, but no, the attention for the club in general was phenomenal and something that'll set the club up for years to come. But to deal with all that has been absolutely amazing. I mean, before the draw, I think we had 22,000 Twitter followers. And then after the game, it went up to 55,500, which is it's obviously more than doubled. And it's it's been crazy. And I've kind of changed my approach a little bit for that as well. I kind of took a more comical approach to the updates in the because I thought you may as well. We were getting beat 5-0, and you may as well put a spin on it and stuff like that. Try and get us more followers. And obviously, the task is now we've got all these followers and we've got all this engagement, but we've got to kind of make use of it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Rather than it being a 5 minutes of fame, we've got to keep these as Marine fans, and maybe when fans are allowed back in, people will want to come and watch us as because we are potentially their second team now, which is the ideal.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And one of the things I sort of highlighted in a tweet was the social content plan that you'd sort of the content calendar for the build up was absolutely spot on. I mean, from a commercial perspective, we were talking about it a bit off before we started recording. The involvement of the Athletic and the house numbers, which is something that was pretty cool. And of course the digital ticket campaign, which with the sort of the unknown surrounding professional sports at the moment with regard to spectators and fans not being allowed into stadia to watch games. Obviously, the match day revenue is vitally important for, in particular, lower league sides in the FA Cup. So I was absolutely devastated once I found out that the restrictions have been, put in place and you couldn't exactly have a full capacity per crowd. But that digital ticket campaign, as I was saying, mate, it's just absolutely spot on. It seemed like a fair few people got involved, a few famous names as well. How many of those tickets did you end up selling in the end?
Nice one. Yeah, there was I think the final figure was 32,202, which is absolutely amazing because I remember when we started it, I think it was suggested to us beforehand because when the announcement got made that we weren't going to be allowed fans in the stadium, a lot of Spurs fans and a lot of football fans kind of got in touch and said, how can we support the club in some way? Because obviously it's going to be a massive loss in revenue that. And we were allowed 500 fans in initially. Okay. So we were hoping to sell 500 virtual tickets kind of thing. And I think James Leary, the CEO, his prediction was 600. That's how many he thought we'd sell. And I said, no, you've got to be more ambitious than that. Go for 1,000. But to sell 32,000 and 202 is absolutely amazing. It just we never expected any of it. And a lot of Spurs fans got behind it from all over the world, corners of the world that we didn't know Spurs fans existed. And it was the attention for that scheme was absolutely amazing. Obviously, as you say, the content plan as well, because we were trying to push it the week before the game. It was a difficult balance because we wanted to push it without kind of asking too much of people and kind of like badgering people, like give us money kind of thing, because that was we were accused of that by some rival fans who won't mention. But no, it was kind of like it's a difficult time for the club. Having lost so much revenue across not just the Spurs match, but the whole cup run, because we allowed limited fans in for the first few games, but the games like Colchester, even going down to Essex, you would have had loads of Marine fans going down. There's a lot of loyal Marine fans who were going to follow the team up and down the country, and for such a massive occasion, I'm sure they would have again. But no, we had to push that in the week before, and we're kind of thinking of ideas how to make it funny as well and get it out there, which is why we come up with that idea to make a team preview of all the people who were in the trees and the scaffolding in the week before. So we come up with a couple of ideas a day in terms of content for the week before the match, and it really worked, especially on the day as well. We had one every hour on the day of the match, and one of them was telling Gary Lineker, Alan Shearer and Ian Wright they couldn't come in if they didn't have a virtual ticket, and obviously they went and bought one and put it on their channels as well, so that gave it a bit more publicity. But yeah, it got to the point where we kind of thought we've got to say thank you to all these people, because we couldn't just kind of take the money and then that's it. So the club decided that they were going to put a board up in the stadium with every single virtual ticket holder's name on and put it up at the back of the stadium, and that's going to be there permanently as a thank you to all those fans who donated generously. So that's going to go up at the MTA, and it was just absolutely amazing for it to get that much attention as well. And I think we sold them at a tenner, so it's over £320,000 for the club. It just sets you up for whatever years to come. It's an amazing base for non-league clubs at the moment. Are obviously struggling to cope in a time like this, but in terms of a financial boost like that, it was just that's going to really set us up for years to come. And it was just what a reaction. We were buzzing to get such an amazing reaction, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. As you say, for a non-league side in, nonetheless a global pandemic, like such sort of tough circumstances, that contribution is absolutely invaluable. I mean, I when I did my dissertation on like broadcasting rights and ownership within English football, and obviously, finishing it off was when we'd all, been sent packing because of the pandemic. It was basically like, we finished teaching, go home, finish, what you've got left from home. So I dedicated a fair bit to, non-league sides and all that sort of ecosystem around non-league sides, because, you've got local businesses within the area that are obviously going to benefit from match days, that are obviously going to come up short and really suffer as a consequence of this pandemic. And, for you to say, what was it, like, 320 grand, like that's brilliant. And as you say, nothing but gratitude to the people that contributed towards that, because that, it is really going to be a long way. You touched on it in regards to the content strategy for, a tweet on the hour every hour for the day of the game. Sort of content strategy aside, and not necessarily personally, but just your sort of recollection and accounts from that day. Did you wake up with a few sort of nerves, or was it, let's get this on?
Honestly, I didn't really sleep that much, to be honest. It was the night before Christmas as a kid. Honestly, I was buzzing. I couldn't wait, and the day up to the game as well, because the game wasn't until 5 p.m. and I was just chocker all day with requests and things like that, sponsor requests, and it was just absolutely manic. But it was worth it and more, 100%. It was just, to be part of that was just absolutely amazing. And then to go around as well, because I brought my little brother helped us out as well, because he was doing updates for me. So he's part of the media team as well at Marine, because he comes to help me out with the Instagram updates, and for us to go and just arrive with obviously all those fans lining the streets, and we just arrived, and I think they had the LFC stewards down because we didn't have enough stewards ourselves, so Liverpool offered to help us out, and I was trying to get into the stadium, and there was an LFC steward saying, "Can you show us your accreditation?" And I said, "I haven't got one. I'm like the media officer. I don't really need one usually." So he was like, "Well, you can't come in then." All right then, off I go, and I'll just go home with the telly then. But he didn't let me in, so I was like, "What do I do here?" So I went on Twitter and got up Marine's account and just showed them that I'll just tweet from Marine's account and you can see it's me. So it's actually a tweet from Marine's account to prove that it was me, for them to let me in the stadium in the end. But no, we got in, and it was just I got in a couple of hours earlier than I normally do, because the press that were there, I just walked into the press box and sat next to Sam Matterface right next to me with Talk Sport there, and then Daniel was he told he couldn't sit near me because of social distancing or something like that, so we got told sit on the other end of the stand, so he went and sat next to Jamie Carragher, and it was just the people that were there, it was just absolutely amazing to be part of it. And I did feel sorry for the fans who weren't allowed in, but to be in there myself and to go down and even just filming the Tottenham players coming in and seeing Gareth Bale, Mourinho, Son walk past us, and this is at Marine. We normally see like lads who've got part-time jobs as like obviously like bin men and things like that walking in, and this is Mourinho and Son and Bale walking in, and it was just it was surreal, really. But the experience of a lifetime. It was. I wouldn't. Literally, things I would have done for that match, and to experience that was absolutely phenomenal. And I like to think we made the most of it as well.
Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, I guess maybe in this part of the world in particular, obviously Marine, our local side, no doubt about it, but we are sort of insulated in that we have got two Premier League sides. Me and you both Evertonians, and that, in normal circumstances, we'd be able to go the game and see these players, Son, Gareth Bale, at a regular occurrence. But as you say, for a non-league side, for the lads, the players in particular, I'm sure it was, an unforgettable experience. And I mean, we'll get on to the game in and of itself. But before just moving on to that, I did want to ask, I should have really lumped it in with the social content plan, really. But did you get any sort of demographics on the reach? How many people sort of reached out to the account? I know you said, your followers increased exponentially, but in terms of like the countries that it reached and whatnot, because when I saw FIFA tweet, like the official FIFA account had tweeted something about the game, I was thinking, right, they've hit the big time now. They're going to be getting, all corners of the globe.
That's just, yeah. When we saw that FIFA tweet, it was like that's as high as you can get. You can't get any higher within football, can you? So we were just amazed at that. That was amazing. In terms of analytics, though, I looked at it briefly. I should have. I have to go back and get the numbers properly and save them, because I'm sure it's something to look back on properly and put in the portfolio potentially as well. But
Definitely.
I think in a week up to the game we were up 700% in terms of the month before, and the numbers were incredible. I'm not sure in terms of impressions how many we got, but it must have been in the millions, and because it blew up. And I normally tweeted, like even match day tweets, like in-game updates. If it's not a goal, it'll get 1-2 likes, something like that. And these were getting up to 50,000. The Geds and one got, didn't it? So like it was just all eyes were on us. So that's why we had to kind of make the updates good, because everyone was watching Marine at that point in time, and I kind of thought this is our chance to get loads more followers and loads more interaction and loads more people looking at us. And I know we were anyway, like the eyes of the world were on us, which is amazing. But in terms of countries, I think we had a map at one point of all the countries where people have bought virtual tickets, and it was going around the world. We had in Asia and in Africa, in the States as well, along the States, because a lot of Spurs fans in the States. And the back of short sponsor as well was actually an American Tottenham fan site, a part of SB Nation, called Cartilage Free Captain, which is named after Ledley King. But no, it was the attention worldwide was absolutely phenomenal. Like I said before, with that Korean news report, it was crazy that we just go to Marine and on it every week, and a couple of hundred people turn up. But this was, the world was on us, and it doesn't happen. It's once in a lifetime. It doesn't really have. I was kind of felt lucky, because obviously when I joined the club, they were relegated for the first time in the 125-year history, and I was thinking, oh, I'm bad luck, aren't I? And then we looked to get promoted the next season, and the season got declared null and void. So I was like, oh, this is great. But then to go on this cup run this year, even if this season does get null and void for Marine, that's, for me, that's enough of a season, because that was just an incredible experience.
Yeah, as you say, mate, a once in a lifetime sort of highlight, especially this young in your career. And before we get on to the game itself, that Jedson shot, how far did it miss the beautiful face?
It was scary. I think it hit the press box. It was terrifying. I don't know if you saw the meme I put out yesterday of going into space and then coming back and hit me in the face in the garden. But no, it was pretty close. It hit the base of the press box in front of us and made a big echo. And I don't think the radio lads were happy next to us, but it was inches away from the beard. Give me a little shave, but no, it hit the base of the press box. It was terrifying, to be honest. No, but I tweeted so well. I was so surprised. I didn't think it was that funny, but a lot of people were entertained by it, so I'd take it.
No, that was absolutely brilliant, mate. And cat-like reflexes from the boy there. Now, onto the Spurs game itself. I mean, putting your sort of obligations as social media manager aside for one moment, me and you have analysed God knows how many games together. And honestly, mate, those first 15 minutes, 20 minutes, they were really defensively resilient. And then there was that shot by Neil Kennedy, is his name, I believe. Kennedy.
Yeah.
Oh, good little player, by the way. Seemed like a very sort of neat and tidy player. In that shot that clipped the top of the crossbar. If that goes in, mate, I think we're looking at a sort of different story as the game as a whole. But as many people know, it ended up 5-0. Carlyle finished his hat trick. A Lucas Moura free kick that, as an admirer of great free kicks, you couldn't help but stand back and be impressed by that.
No.
So as a a football fanatic and someone that enjoys a game of football, what did you make of the game?
Yeah, it was really good to start the game. It's kind of what I expected, and you Neil had put out the teams to actually win the game. And I know it's difficult against like Premier League opposition, but I knew he wasn't just going to tell the players to go out there and enjoy it. He was going to actually have a plan. And Liverpool FC helped us out in terms of they give us all of Spurs' corner routines and tactics. They gave us a big video of those to try and have a look at them and potentially beat them. But no, the game itself was a fair 20 minutes. They were in the game, and you never know if that Kenji shot goes in. It was just Joe Hart didn't know what was going on, and I know for some parts of the game he was sat down. I saw him in the second half, but for that really gave him a little bit of nerves because he didn't know where that was dipping. That was it was a good shot. Kenji's been great for us, and he wasn't even. He's kind of taken up a role since Torre, who came from Salford City on loan, who was absolutely phenomenal player. I do think he'll make it potentially at professional level. He's a Wales under-23 international, and Salford didn't allow him back on loan for the match, which we were really disappointed about. So Kenji came in and really stepped up, and he's from Wythenshawe. He's a trainee plumber, but no, he matched the professionals with that shot. He hit the bar, and if that goes in, that's honestly a different game because Spurs would have been rattled and we would have had them on the ropes, and you never know what would happen after that. But no, I think it was those 3 goals within the same couple of minutes, and that kind of rocked us. Obviously, Vinicius' ones, it was such a shame as well because Bailey passing the goalkeeper was really disappointed with the goals, and I know he came out for the post-match interviews afterwards, and he was rather than being happy for the occasion, he was gutted for himself for letting those goals. But now I think Vinicius was quite lucky with one of them because he mishit the shot and then it went in and bobbled in. But it was those 3 goals in a few minutes, and after that it was kind of like, how do we come back from this? And then that Lucas Moura free kick as well. That was kind of a touch of world class, and you look at that and go, how are we going to match that? Like Lucas Moura just whipped one of the most gorgeous free kicks I've ever seen into the top corner. You can't really do much about that. So in the second half, I thought we did well in the second half to only concede 1 goal, especially when Bale came on as well. But I think they did all right. The 5-0 scoreline says a lot, but some people were saying for a 8-tier team to only get beat 5-0 by Tottenham is a decent scoreline, but I think it could have been less if it weren't for those couple of minutes where we conceded 3 goals. But yeah, we could have been more competitive if it weren't for those manic few minutes. And I'm not ashamed of Marines' performance at all. I think they put a really solid shift in because I know they were really nervous before the game. I think Simon Hughes put in his piece for the Athletics. Jay Devine came down in the hotel at the morning game to say, is anyone else shitting the keks yet? And they were all very nervous before the game, but I think they performed admirably, as they did across the whole cup run. The players, and they've got bright futures ahead of them, and a lot of young lads with big futures.
Definitely, and I mean, I do think, as you say, that the 5-0 scoreline, yes, eventually in the second half and towards the latter stage of the first half, Spurs sort of took the game by the scruff of the neck and started controlling things. But you look at the Vinicius goals. What were they? They were within the space of a yard. So he was sort of relegated to being forced that close to the goal before converting. And as you were saying in regard to tactics with Neil Young, I think, defensively, they were so well drilled up until a point. And then, as you say, once you sort of get bogged down with a manic few minutes and, that touch of brilliance, that free kick, it just started to unravel, really, I guess. But one thing I wanted to touch on, I'd say, aside from the FA Cup game, was that result as a whole. I think there was only one defeat in the sort of space of time between, the FA Cup games. So, with the rest being all wins, if I'm not mistaken. So how was the confidence in the group, as you say, if you were sort of assessing the players psychologically?
It was a weird stop-start point because the season was getting stop-started because of coronavirus and things like that, and we didn't have that many games. And in the middle of the cup run, to be honest, at the start, yeah, we did at the start. We were doing all right in the league. I think we were only just outside the playoff places, and with such an amazing cup run, you probably expect us to be a little bit higher, and we did it ourselves. But I think we lost 2 games at the start of the season, which set us back. I think we only ended up playing as many games in the FA Cup as we played in the league, because the league's been very stop-start. But we did come back for a couple of games over Christmas. But before that, it was all friendlies, because all of the other players in our league were getting furloughed, and they weren't playing any football. And we knew that the teams we'd be playing, like Colchester and teams higher up than us, they would be playing football. So Neil had to arrange a few friendlies. We got like Southport down, we got Salford's development squad down to play friendlies with, just to stay sharp while everyone else was furloughed in our league. But yeah, the league did come back for a couple of games over Christmas, and we went away to Kendal Town, and we played a home game as well. No, we played away, at City of Liverpool, and beat them both. And it was weird to see these lads be against opposition of supposedly our level, because these lads haven't seen them beat high league opposition, I think 5 times this season. They play above their level. This Marine team is not an 8th tier team, and to see them play against 8th tier opposition, they were battering them. I think we beat Kendal 4-0. We only beat City Liverpool 2-1, because that was a very scruffy game. It was definitely a derby game with a lot of crunching tackles in. But no, I think the players haven't beat high league opposition 5 times that season. They knew they were better than this, and they performed as they were as well in the league. And I do think if the league were to be played out, we would end up getting promoted, even though we're outside the playoff places at the moment. But I don't think it's going to carry on. It's going to be null and void. But yeah, to beat high league opposition so consistently, to come back and play your 8th tier opposition, you do have a lot more confidence going into it, and I think the players felt that, and they did look a step above in fitness levels and in general as well, because obviously they've been playing all the way through, whereas the likes of Kendal hadn't. We stayed sharp with the FA Cup as well, so I think that's a factor, as well as confidence. Fitness was a factor as well. But I do think a lot of these lads came into the game with the 2 games with a lot of confidence, and they are a step above, and they do deserve to get promoted, and they probably will in the coming season when we're eventually allowed to finish the season.
Certainly, and it's great to hear you and I guess everybody else at the club have such confidence in the group of players that they are going to go on and achieve great things. And just lastly, on Marine, before moving into just a more general conversation, I guess people will have seen the likes of the digital ticket campaign and the sponsorship from the likes of Jamie Carragher, the Athletic. But as you were saying, you've had increased involvement in the commercial department. What position are Marine in, and what do they expect to happen over the short term future?
It's strange. There's voting taking place at the moment. I think it took place this week. I think the Trident Leagues took the position that the season should be null and voided, but it was going to come down to a vote between the clubs in the Trident Leagues, and I'm not sure what Marine voted. I don't think that's been revealed yet, but I know a lot of the people in the club do want the season to be resolved in some form, rather than null and voided, because a lot of hard work from the players just goes cancelled out, and it's like that didn't matter. All that effort you put in, that doesn't matter, which is hard to take for the players, of course, and the management who've paid for it so vigorously. So I do think Marine would like to finish the season in some kind of way, but I don't think that's going to happen really. But so I'm sure the club will be looking to next season now, because it's unlikely that this season will carry on.
And like we said, I think that proves just how valuable the income from the likes of the digital ticket sales will be for the club as a whole, not just the playing department and the technical staff, but the sort of commercial operations and just the maintenance of the club. And just to conclude on Marine, I guess, for example, for the likes of potential students or whatever within sports media who have a keen interest in pursuing a career in sports media, I'm sure there's plenty that you can learn from Tom's experiences. I'm glad that we've covered that. And as I say, mate, I was absolutely made up for you. There's been some great insight into the experience of Marine and their brilliant FA Cup run over the last couple of months. It's been great to catch up with you, mate. Stay safe and take care out there.
You too, of course. Yeah, it's a pleasure to come on the podcast, as always.
Definitely, man. Catch up soon. Hopefully we'll be able to get out for the bevy.
Yeah, fingers crossed.